you. Okay, it's time. It's 5 o'clock. I'm going to put the slide, put my palms together. And Chui, when you are ready, I'm going to invite everyone to put your palms together and join Chui as he requests.
恭敬大德圣品，为此法会集切众生，请转妙法轮教导我们如何了生脱世，离苦得乐。速增无生 Build a Sangha with great virtues out of compassion for the sake of this assembly and all living beings. Please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach us how to relieve suffering and attain bliss and end birth and death, and quickly realize non-birth.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one. Namo sadanto suchetoye alahati sanmiao sanputoche. 无上甚深微妙法，百千万劫难遭遇。我今见闻得受持，愿解如来真实义。Supreme and wondrous Dharma, subtle and profound, rarely is encountered, even in a billion eons. But now we see and hear it and accept it reverently. May we truly understand the Buddha's actual meaning. Namo Quelling Disasters Lengthening Life Medicine Master Buddha. 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 Hello everyone, welcome to class number 13. It's the 30th of April and in California 5 p.m. and it's 8 a.m. 31st of April if you are in Asia. And today on this side of this part of the world is the Buddha's birthday. Okay, so what does a Buddha's birthday mean? It means happy birthday to all of you. Does that make sense? Okay. Before we begin, just a sound test. Everyone can hear me fine? You can just type in the chat box. I hope, because I've been speaking for a while. Okay, thank you, Em. Yes. Okay. Before I go to the sutra, does anyone have any questions? Yes, Arvind.
Dharma Master, it's not from the previous classes, but I'm wondering, why is Vesak celebrated on different days by different cultures?
Yes, I was just thinking about that, and I do not know. For example, sometimes it's based on convenience. At Berkeley Buddhist Monastery, say at CDTB, for example, City of 10,000 Buddhas, they do the bathing Buddha ceremony on the actual day itself. And then at Berkeley Buddhist Monastery, because we're fairly near, we are a 2-hour car ride away, we don't do it on the same day, we do it on a weekend, because it's more convenient for our community to gather on the weekend. As for why in different countries is celebrated on different days, I'm not sure. Maybe there's a different interpretation of when the Buddha's birthday is. Yeah. Does anyone know? Tom, do you know why your microphone is unmuted? Oh, he muted himself. Okay. All right. Anyone else? Any other questions? Doesn't have to be related to the sutra. No? Okay. Let me bring up the sutra. Okay, let's start here. Let me go down. Okay, first great vow. Today let's go to the vows. Okay, I'm gonna put my palms together and I invite everyone to join me. The first great vow. I vow that in a future life, when I attain Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi, my body will shine with dazzling light that will illumine measureless, countless, boundless worlds. My body will be adorned with the 32 heroic features and the 80 subsidiary characteristics, and I will enable all beings to become as I am. Okay, so that's the first vow. All in. I'm going to highlight this. Oh, let me move that. Give me a second. Let me. All right. I'm going to highlight this part. At this point in the sutra, Shakyamuni Buddha is explaining to Manjushri Bodhisattva that how Medicine Master Buddha came about. Yeah, and when Medicine Master Buddha was practicing the Bodhisattva path, he made 12 great vows that enable all sentient beings to obtain what they seek. Okay, so we just had the first vow, and in the last class we ended with a question, right? Why would I don't know. I don't have the name of any of his past names, so I'm just going to refer to pre-Medicine Master Buddha. Why would he make a vow like this? Did anyone think about it? Anyone? You know, one of these days, if I don't get a response, I'll just keep quiet. And I'll wait, and I'll wait. No? Come on. Didn't anyone think about... Okay, chat box time. Light inspires hope and joy and goodness. Okay. And Julie says that Medicine Buddha is compassionate. Yes, but what good does that do? What good will that how is that useful for him to become a Buddha? It's like in America now, anything happens, if any disasters, they say we send our our prayers, our thoughts and prayers. Yeah, they always say, oh, we send our thoughts and prayers. Usually when there's something like a mass shooting, until someone decided that enough was enough, thoughts and prayers don't really do anything. Action speaks louder than words. Yes.
Good afternoon. Amitabha, Pastor.
Amitabha.
I would like to share my thought. Pastor was saying that why with Medicine Master Buddha made the vow. For me, I was thinking, vow, if I make the vow same as Medicine Master Buddha, that is my intention. So my intention want to be like Medicine Master Buddha. So I will cultivate just like Medicine Master Buddha, all the vows. Amitabha, correct me if I'm wrong.
So I heard, okay, so I heard one very crucial word, which is intention. And could you repeat again the part about being like Medicine Master Buddha? If you make, do you say if you make the same vows, you'll be like Medicine Master Buddha? Is that right?
Pastor, I was thinking that if I make the vow like Medicine Master Buddha, then I'll follow just like the Sutra, Medicine Master Buddha Sutra, and then cultivate in that way. Because Medicine Master Buddha dispense medicine, so medicine cure all illnesses. And then medicine, there is also, if Buddha said that if their Faster said that about 4 kinds of food, medicine that Buddha told us to take. Then medicine as food, this also linked that me had the thought of the 5 contemplation and the 3 reflection that in CTTP we recite before we take our meal. So we have to, the 4th one is that if properly taken, this food will nourish our body for us to cultivate the way. So if we take proper food that nourishes us, then we can cultivate the way properly, because food there's also poison. So we must know how to take proper. That's how I was thinking, Pastor. Amitabha.
Okay, that's pretty good. Anyone else? Anyone? No? Okay, M says, won't the light illumine the dark places like the hells? Okay, say if you are suffering, okay, say someone is suffering right now, either mental or physical suffering, and then someone takes a light and they shine it on you. How does that help you? Okay, maybe I won't keep on asking questions. We'll go to, okay, there's a few things I want to cover in this vow. One is Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi is a Sanskrit word that means full enlightenment, like the enlightenment of the Buddha. That's Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. And then there's another thing, countless, boundless worlds. We'll come back to that towards the end. Okay, Tan has raised up his hand. Tan, give me a minute. Let me go through this paragraph and I'll come back to you. All right. And then the other one that that I want to highlight is this: the 32 heroic features, or the 32, also known as 32 hallmarks of the Buddha. I have a slideshow for people, but it all depends. Okay, this slideshow is like a reward. It's like dessert. If people keep on responding to my questions, then I will show you the slideshow. Yeah, and it's an awesome slideshow. Yeah, but if everyone just keeps quiet, then maybe no slideshow. All right. Okay. Yes, Tan. Okay, Tan says he doesn't know how to put his microphone on. Okay, maybe you want to chat. You want to type in the chat box if you want to say something, and then I'll come back to the chat box. All right. Okay, he says okay. All right. Let's see what Shufu has to say about making vows. All right. Instead of you all listening to me. Okay. I've got this. Okay, Shufu says cultivating the way without making a vow is the same as trees that flower but bear no fruit. It is pointless. Yeah. Funnily enough, I copied this text a while ago, but I only how you say, I've been okay because of all these things with the COVID virus, and the situation with the food. They say that there could be a potential of food shortages, but not just food shortages, but also the affordability of food, because a lot of people's finances are impacted in a way that may that affects the buying of groceries. So I was just walking around and I had a thought that if we all converted whatever available land that had trees, plants, to vegetables that we could eat, or to trees that could bear fruit, especially at a time like this, it seems a bit, how you say, not a waste, but a lost opportunity, I guess. So reading Shufu's comment brought that thought back. Okay, what else does Shufu have to say? Okay. Tan, I still don't have your comment in the chat box. Okay. Oh, okay, finally, yes. He says, reading this paragraph as it is, I think the Buddha just wants all living beings to benefit from his achievement and become as same as himself. Okay, let's come back to all this, to your comment, Tan, once we try to figure out about vows. Okay, vows are pretty important, and I think that's a reason why Shakyamuni Buddha, by introducing who Medicine Master Buddha was, he did it through the vows. Alright, okay. So Shufu says also, if we sincerely make vows, we will certainly reap the fruits of those vows. They won't be in vain. Vows are also a form of karma. If we make good vows, we will reap good results. Bad vows bring bad results. So careful, there's such thing as bad vows too. Alright. Each person must make his own vows of his own initiative. Once we have made vows, there will be a driving power pushing us to accomplish those vows. Medicine Master Buddha made wholesome vows in his past lives, so he accomplished wholesome karma and reaped wholesome results. His vows are wholesome because he made them for all living beings. Okay, so there's a few things that we want to highlight here. Okay, if we sincerely make vows, we will certainly reap the fruits of those vows. So I'm going to underline that. So there's a cause and effect implied here. Okay, so vows lead to a planting of causes. So there are effects in the future. Okay, so that's why Shufu say vows are also a form of karma. If we make good vows, we will reap good results. This is along the same line. So vows actually help us what? If we have good results from good vows, that means vows influences. Vows have a way to shape our actions, how we plant causes or karma, which is through three modes, through body, speech, and mind. Okay, so each person must make his own vows of his own initiative. If you look at Amitabha Buddha, he has 48 vows. We just read the first vow of Medicine Master Buddha. Earthstar Bodhisattva has different vows too, just as Guanyin Bodhisattva. Why are all the vows different? Because we are on a causal ground, and all of us are different. All of us have different stories. We have different, our stories are called what? Shufu says our stories are our own sutras. Our own experiences are our sutra. Because that's how we practice. We have to reflect on our understanding and our experience in life. So because all of us are different, our vows will all be different. So we are moved by different things. Okay, and okay, let me scroll down. Okay, and I have a few more Shufu's comments to share here. And this is apt because Shufu made these comments on, I think in 1985 on the Buddha's birthday too. So Shufu said, today is the Buddha's birthday. Yes, today is. And we should learn to be like the Buddha. We should take the Buddha's body as our own body, the Buddha's conduct as our own conduct, the Buddha's mind as our own mind. Okay, mute. The Buddha's vows as our own vows, and the Buddha's will as our own will. We should bear the toil and hardship and emulate the Buddha's indomitable spirit. Anyone who can be this way has a chance to become a Buddha and will quickly be able to end birth and death. Okay, so remember Bodhidharma, what he said about the practice of casting statues, right? This is exactly the same principle. So Shufu is saying that we should emulate the Buddha. And one way to do that is, the comment earlier, was it Gail who helped us? We should take the Buddha's vows as our own vows. Alright, so this is what Shufu had to say on the Buddha's birthday. How apt. How apt. Okay, and then what else did Shufu say? Oh, what kind of scroll down? Okay. Shufu says, why do bodhisattvas make vows? Because they want to control the flow of their karma. Relying on their great vows as a foundation, they can direct their karma. In their case, they can control their karma, but their karma cannot control them. They can control states of mind, but states of mind cannot control them. They can control their retribution, but retribution cannot control them. So this is the power of vows, and we'll come to that in once we run through another thing of what Shufu has to say. Okay, copy, paste. Okay, let me see. Okay, making vows remind you to correct your faults and strive towards goodness. If you don't make vows, you cannot cultivate. You'll be like a tree that blossoms but doesn't bear fruit. This is what he said at the beginning too. If you have made vows, you should review them every day so that you can remember what you ought to be doing. Then your vows will not be in vain. You won't forget them and you won't be cheating yourself or others. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the past attained supreme enlightenment because they made earnest vows. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the future, which is all of you listening, will also attain supreme enlightenment as a result of making vows. Alright, so that's your prediction. If everyone can make these vows every single day, I can guarantee that each of you will be able to meet the compassionate honored one or the Buddha, obtain irreversibility, and soon realize the Buddha way. Okay, what are the vows that he was referring to? Okay. Ta-da! These are the vows. I'm going to italize them. So I vow to be reborn in the Pure Land with the 9 grades of lotuses as my father and mother. When the flower opens, I will see the Buddha and awaken to the unproduced. And irreversible bodhisattvas will befriend me. So Shufu says, if you make these vows every single day, he guarantees, he gives you a money back guarantee that that you will too be a Buddha one day. Okay, is that helpful? I've shared all these words. Shufu says a lot more about vows, but I shared different angles in the hope that people can understand at least one. Okay, so what are vows? Okay, I remember that when I was young, my family would move around a lot. About every 1 to 2 years, we would move to a different town because my father was working for a company called Simdabi, and they were in oil palm plantations, and my father was an engineer, so his job was to, when a factory was built, he would go and start the factory running and make sure that everything ran well, and once that was okay, he would hand the factory to a manager and he will move on to a new factory to commission the factory. So every 1-2 years we would move, and that would mean new house, new school, and new bedroom. And I remember when I was young, I would look at we had magazines about house furnishing. Back then there wasn't the internet, so you had magazines, and I would look through all the wonderful bedrooms of children in those magazines, and always in my mind imagining, oh, this is what I want for my bedroom. Oh, this is what I want for my bedroom. Oh, that one. Yeah, I want that kind of bed, like a race car bed. Or I want a double-decker bed, but not double-decker, just a high bed, so at the bottom you can play, things like that. And later, when I was reading the longer sutra on Amitabha, and I saw one of his vows. One of his vows is that he wants to go to he wanted to visit all the pure lands of all the Buddhas, and he wanted to choose the best features from every land and combine them into his super pure land. And it struck me, a few things struck me. First was kind of not the similarity, I guess, but I could see that vow in me. But of course the skill was very different. My vow was just for myself, but his vow was different. His vow wasn't for himself. He wanted to share that. He wanted to his motivation was for all living beings. So that having that experience kind of gave me a different insight into vows, which is why I'm sharing the whole concept of vows in this way with you. So to me, vows help you understand how they practice, what motivated them. I guess it's kind of like if you want to be a really successful businessman, if you read about someone like Warren, how you pronounce his name, Warren Buffett, or Bill Gates, other people who are really rich, like Sir Richard Branson, and then you pour through their autobiography to learn how they did it, or what are their investment tips, for example. Or like if you want to practice and you read Shufu's biography, Ajahn Chah, Ajahn Man, Elder Master Shin, something like that. You want to emulate them. So for us, vows are a way for us to understand and to emulate the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas. To how you say, I think vows are the closest that we can get into their psyche. And how we do that is different for every one of us. You have to be able to wrestle with their vows, try to figure out their vows, bring it into your own experiences. For example, like Asta Bodhisattva. I'm not sure if I mentioned it in this class, but Shufu says we should, Lefun people should lecture on the Asta Sutra, especially when their parents pass away. Why? Because that's how Asta Bodhisattva, one of the circumstances of how he or she became Asta Bodhisattva, because her own mother passed away when she was a daughter. Actually, there are two stories about that, and those two incidences helped her as a daughter bring forth her Bodhi resolve, because from helping her mom, she said, I want to help all mothers in this world. And that was the beginning of her taking the first steps on the Bodhisattva path. So to me, vows are the force behind your Bodhi resolve. Yeah. And what do all the vows of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas have in common? First of all, they have the three great Mahayana vows. What are they? Okay, let me type it up. They are do no evil. Okay. The other one, who wants to guess? Do all good. Let me go up. And why? Because you want to save all living beings. Okay, so there's one thing in common. The other thing in common is called the four great Mahayana vows, the aspect of their vows, and we'll use this to examine the vows as we run through them. Okay, is this Mahayana four great vows. Living beings are boundless, I vow to save them all. Afflictions are endless, I vow to cut them off. Dharma doors are limitless, I vow, typo. I vow to study them all, and the Buddha way is unsurpassed, but I vow to realize it, and I vow to realize it. Okay, so they have these common traits or characteristics. So vows lead and shape our intentions. If your vow is really strong, every thought that you have, everything that you say, every action that you make follows after the vows. All right, at this point, let me look at the chat box. Anyone? Where can we find Shakyamuni Buddha's vows? Yes, that's a very good question. I've been searching. I think one of the closest you can come to are the Jataka tales, stories of the Buddha's past lives, where we have all, I think there's at least 500 stories there, all his past lives and all the things that he did. That would be a really good way of getting to know what makes Shakyamuni Buddha Shakyamuni Buddha. Yeah, at least to my knowledge, that's how that's what I would do. Yeah, so there's something interesting with vows is that it's not a common practice in Theravada Buddhism. In Theravada Buddhism, practitioners don't make vows. I mean, they have aspirations, but not vows in the sense of Mahayana vows, where your practice has to do with saving living beings. They don't. It's not common. I guess it's because their goal in Theravada Buddhism is to become an arhat, and that is to end your own suffering. It doesn't really have to do with ending the suffering of other people. You do teach, of course, when you are still, like Ajahn Mun, when he was still around, he did teach people. He had gods visit him for teachings as well, devas from the heavens. But it's not the main goal. Yeah, the main goal is to enter the deathless and then to enjoy the bliss or to abide in the bliss of nirvana. So why in Mahayana you have vows? Okay. First of all, in Theravada, they don't have the intention to become Buddhas because there is a general idea that it takes too long and it's too hard. While once you end your own suffering and you become an arhat, there is nothing else to do. Okay, so there's that idea, and it's kind of right, especially if you're not familiar with vows, because in Mahayana, the greater your vow, the greater your strength, the more you can do. Vows let you overcome suffering and hardship. Okay, what's the difference between suffering and hardship? Okay, I've used this example many times. For those of you who have heard it, I'm sorry. Maybe I'll come up with a new one. But think about it this way, all right? When I first came to City, and I'll tell this in the form of a story. When I first came to CityTV, I wanted to fast. And at that time, I haven't read Bodhidharma yet, so I didn't know anything about fasting. I just thought, oh, fasting is about not eating food. Okay, I'll try to be an ascetic. I was a layperson, didn't know what I was doing. So I fasted for 3 days. I talked to one of the monks there to get some advice. And then I fasted for 3 days. I didn't eat anything. No, 4 days. Yeah, I didn't eat anything for 4 days. Oh my God, at the end of the 4 days, my mind was on food all the time. I couldn't not think about food. And if you had asked me what my experience was, I would say, oh, my hands and feet were cold. And if I stood up too quickly, like if you bow down and you stand up too quickly, you get lightheaded and you feel weak. Stomach would kind of hurt, especially the first maybe 1-2 days. Yeah, I feel a bit miserable. And because I didn't know anything, I wasn't exactly meditating at the same time. So I didn't know what I was doing. And if someone had asked me, do you feel miserable? I would say, yeah, I would feel miserable. Okay. So that was my experience. Okay. So now let's change the scenario slightly. Okay. Say if you were not eating because you didn't have any food, and then after 4 days, someone would say, myself, if I hadn't eaten for 4 days and someone come to me, especially if it's not by my own choice, and ask me how I felt, I would say the same things, right? Hands and feet are cold, feel weak, hungry all the time, thinking about food. Am I suffering? Yeah, you bet I'm suffering. This is hard, you know. I want to eat. I want to feed my body. But what would happen, say, in a different scenario, you or me or someone, okay, imagine yourself, you have a bag full of food, all your favorite foods, okay, whatever you want, you know, you have your sandwiches, you have your soups, you have your pastas, you have your fried rice, fried noodles, okay, for you in Malaysia, you have nasi lemak and all those things, char kway teow, okay, but every time you felt hungry and you wanted to eat, you would see someone that obviously has not eaten for a while, and they look really hungry. Recently in the news, there was a picture of the Rohingya refugees. They were trying to escape from, was it Myanmar they're trying to escape from? No. Okay, trying to escape from somewhere. Someone put in the chat box where they're coming from. And they were stuck on the boat for so long. And they were rescued, I believe, by the Myanmar government. No. Okay, anyway, they were Rohingya refugees. And when they were rescued, there was a picture that showed them and they were all starving and they looked really skeletal. So imagine you come across people like that. How would you be able to eat in front of them? So you would share your food or you would give away your food because you just eaten yesterday. You know you won't die if you don't eat, but these people that you see in front of you, they might not make it if you don't share your food. So you give your food away. And then later in the day, you remember that you're hungry again. And then just as you reach inside your bag and you want to eat, again, you see someone else or animals, any living being who you recognize as, oh, they need the food a lot more than I do. So you give your food away again. And then this happens on the second day, on the third day, on the fourth day. You don't get to eat. Why? Because every time you want to eat, you realize there are people who need the food a lot more than you. So in your business to give the food away, you forget to eat yourself. So someone comes and asks you, oh, you haven't eaten. Okay, so in the chat box says, yes, they want to escape from Myanmar. Thank you so much. I forgot the country that rescued this boat. Yeah. So someone comes to you and say, oh, you haven't eaten in 4 days. How do you feel? Well, I would bet that your hands and feet are cold because you don't have any energy. If you stand up too fast or you walk too fast, you'll probably be dizzy. And your stomach might hurt, you know. You might even have a headache. But if someone asks you, oh, okay, but how do you feel inside? How does your heart feel? What would your answer be? So there's a difference between hardship, which is outside of us, our bodies, physical, that's hardship. There's a difference between hardship and suffering, because suffering is dependent on how we see our relationship with ourselves and with our environment, including living beings. Hardship, again, I'll repeat that, hardship is physical based. Like not having enough to eat or having to endure the hot sun. But suffering comes from how the mind interprets what's going on. So if you follow the principle, I'm going to go back to the screen, of the Mahayana vows, which is save all living beings. Okay. The reason for you to practice is because you want to help living beings. So the greater your scope, the more you can do that all the time, everywhere you go. Then slowly, the better you get at it, as you shape how you see the things happening around you, and if you're doing it skillfully, then you are training yourself to be able to endure hardship more and more. And as a result, you don't see suffering as suffering anymore. And when you don't suffer, you become happier. It becomes, life becomes more meaningful, more fulfilling, more satisfying. So when your vows are not selfish, so that's the key. You can't make selfish vows. And you're not doing it for yourself, and your motivation is for everyone else. The wider your compassion is, the more you can include, the more urgent your motivation. Guess what? The more you can handle. So in the loving kindness Sutra, they have the image of as a mother protects her child, her only child. There's a verse that says that. So you can imagine a mother in a house, if there's a thunderstorm, the roof is leaking, the mother, whatever little food she has, she feeds her baby. She shields the baby from the wind and from the rain with her own body. Is life miserable? Yes. But how would she feel as a mother being able to care and protect for her child? That's I guess that would be, I don't know, I'm not a mother, but I can imagine that I guess that would be a glow inside, right? So vows have that power, all right? And if we go back to that, to the sutra itself, okay. Okay, I talked about measureless, countless, boundless worlds. Honestly, I don't understand that at my current state, but how I make sense of that is everywhere I go, my vows go with me. I'm talking about myself. I'm not trying to say this is what Medicine Master Buddha was doing. I'm saying that in me trying to make the vows my own, when I hear measureless, countless, boundless worlds, or living beings, countless living beings throughout the 10 directions, how I understand that is, no matter where I go, if I have really, really strong vows, then everywhere I go, I'll be consistent. I won't be honoring one person here and then looking down on another person somewhere else, or being indifferent to other people somewhere else. So everywhere I go, I will be very, very consistent in treating everyone the same way, but through vows. Okay, and then for light, well, we know that one way, like in the last class I said, one way to interpret light is awareness. Or you could say, I guess I could think of it as his teachings, or his wisdom. Because of his great vows, everywhere you encounter the name of Medicine Master Buddha, his awareness will always be there. And then the 32 heroic features. Oh, we ran out of time. It's 5:45. Yeah, 45 minutes is a bit too short. You can't really sink into even just one. Yeah. Okay. So an announcement regarding the next class. Yes. Thank you everyone for your comments and your permission. So I will be taking at least a 2-week break. Okay. And what I'll do is through the WhatsApp group and through the Berkeley Buddhist Monastery website, I will announce when the next class will be. Most likely it will be maybe once a week, and it will be 1 hour long. And if anyone has any ideas, you can communicate with me in WhatsApp. So what I would urge everyone is, for the next 2 weeks, look at the vows. Really look at the vows. Try to understand, see the vows, engage with the vows in a way. Maybe ask the question, how can this be helpful? What can I learn from this? Or why did he make this vow? what does it mean? How can that vow help someone? Or what would it mean in my next thought, in my next action, in my next act of speech? All right. So don't be like me. I used to read the vows, just gloss through the vows, not getting anything from it. Engage with the vows. So he has 12 vows. There's 12 opportunities for you to engage with Medicine Master Buddha that way. Okay, so now we are going to dedicate merit. Okay, and then Tan has a comment about dedication of merit, and he said, let me see what Tan said. He said he used to do it at the end, and then now he does it before a ceremony and after a ceremony. And since today is it's going to be the last class for the next 2 weeks, I'll just take additional. Is it okay if I take additional few minutes just to talk about vows? Remember I told you about like the birthday thing with the Coke? Okay, no, that's not a good example. Okay, think about the precepts for the deceased. Precepts for the deceased is a ceremony where on behalf of someone that you really care for, like a family member who has passed away, you stand in on their behalf to take the Bodhisattva precepts for them. Okay, so that's the precepts for the deceased. And what you're supposed to do standing in for them is you contemplate throughout the whole ceremony. You are always contemplating them, either a memory that you have of them or a picture of them that you're holding, or you're holding their plaque. You're holding them in your heart, wishing that all the goodness for them from the beginning all the way to the end. Okay, to me, I think that's how I see transference. Transference is not an afterthought that comes after you do something. Transference is something that you your intention is really clear in why you're doing the ceremony. So if you want to transfer the merit to like the Pure Land, before you even do it, you're really clear, like, oh, I'm doing this so that I can be reborn in the Pure Land. I'm transferring this to the Pure Land. Okay, all right. Okay, let's do dedication of merit. May every living being, our minds as one and radiant with light, share the fruits of peace with hearts of goodness, luminous and bright. If people hear and see how hands and hearts can find in giving unity, may their minds awake to great compassion, wisdom, and to joy. May kindness find reward. May all who sorrow leave their grief and pain. May this boundless light dispel the darkness of their endless night. Because our hearts are one, this world of pain turns into paradise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise. Alright, thank you everyone for joining us. Next class, I promise I will show you the slideshow on the 32 major hallmarks of the Buddha. Alright? Okay, bye-bye everyone. Amitabha.